your camera off, then that's absolutely fine. So for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Ruth Steele and I'm lead for City Music Service in Stoke-on-Trent. Welcome. It's lovely to see so many colleagues on the call tonight. We have decided to keep our network meetings at the moment online, just so those colleagues, especially in Staffordshire and Telford, can join us as well. Welcome to our early years music leaders. They're going to introduce themselves in turn. We've also got Lucy Vines from the Soundpots team tonight. Give us a wave, Lucy, so everybody knows where you are. And we've got Jenny Maudsley, who's Deputy for Music Service in Stoke as well. Jenny's waving there as well. So I'm going to hand over to Penny, and for anybody that doesn't know a lot about Soundpots, Penny's going to do just a couple of minutes on what Soundpots is. So thank you, Penny, over to you.
Thanks, Ruth. Yes, I'm Penny Barfield, and I've been part of Soundpots since we had our initial funding from Youth Music in 2014. So little overview. I can't see everybody, so I don't know who's here, and I don't know, you know, if we've got people that are new to this. So basically, it's the name that we use for our early years music sessions at Stoke City Music Service. Soundpots alludes to the pot banks of Stoke and the musical activities that we do. And it's very much music making to support communication, speech and language. And the way that we work is usually with small groups of children, and that could be 8, 10, 12. And very often children chosen for specific reasons, and that could be English as an additional language, other additional needs. It could be that they are very, very quiet children, and I am seeing a lot more of very quiet children, noticeably this term actually, children needing support with social skills, sharing, that sort of thing. So we tend to have to be able to work with those small groups of children, and that's sort of the setup that we often use in schools. Sometimes we're able to work with a whole year group if numbers allow. And we do have schools buying us in, and I've had the opportunity to work over the past whole year actually in one of our schools in Stoke. So that's been really interesting to see those children through the year. We work also in day nurseries, which tends to be a bit more of a flexible model, and spacing is often very different. I'm working somewhere at the moment where we've just got a huge hall. That's the one space, and then we've got the outside area. So that takes a bit of, you know, just changing things and thinking on my feet quite a lot. And in that case, I tend to work with the whole group at the beginning and then go into one-to-ones or work outside, you know, really whatever staff would like me to do. And it's very much also working with staff to support them. You know, it's not turning up and here's what we do in Soundpots. It's very much talking to staff, seeing where the gaps are for their children, for themselves, for their staff, very much working with them, using strengths of staff, for, you know, staff strengths, and perhaps, you know, building on other things that that they don't, you know, not so confident with. So very much working hand in hand with staff. And at the heart, it's about nurturing those children. It's about allowing them to feel safe. It's about valuing their contributions, watching and listening really carefully to see children's responses, and those can be tiny responses. There might be just an action. Oh, yes, let's do it like that. So very much tuning into those children, building on their ideas, building on interaction, play, attention and listening and understanding, all those things in our communication triangle that come before spoken language. So very much underpinning the spoken language. So that's a little bit, I hope, of an overview of Soundpots for you.
Fabulous, thanks Penny. And I have posted in the chat, we do have a Twitter and a Facebook page, so if you're on social media, those links are there. And I've also posted a link to our YouTube videos. Over lockdown, the team made a whole range of videos for practitioners and also for parents and their children. So please do go and explore some of those videos. There's also videos of our online Soundpots conference if you weren't able to make it. So please do use that link and do use those resources. They're there for you and for you to share with your colleagues. As Penny said, Soundpots has been running for nearly 10 years now, and we're just coming to the end of our youth music funded programme. That runs until Christmas, but fingers crossed we do have another funding bid in, and that funding will be to roll this programme again into Stoke-on-Trent, but further into Staffordshire and into Telford and Wrekin as well. So I'm going to hand over to Di. We always start our Soundpots sessions and our probably network meetings with an hello song. So I'm going to hand over to Di, and Di is going to lead us with a hello song. Thanks, Di.
Yes, hello, I'm Di Davis, also one of the Soundpots team. I've been in it for about 7 years, I think, following shadowing Penny. And I wanted to share our Soundpots Hello song, which I did attempt to share at our conference, but we were experiencing a few glitches at the time. So I thought it was worth sharing again. And I'm sure you've got your own favourite Hello songs, but I think sometimes if you're doing a dedicated music session, it's nice to start that session with a musical hello song as well, so you can adapt the words to its music time rather than its Soundpots time. And I wanted to share it because it's got lots and lots of musical elements actually sort of woven into it. I must mention as well, Penny wrote this song, so and I think it's worth sharing. And we start off by waving or tapping sometimes, and we go, hello everybody, how are you today? And we do that twice, and then we clap our hands and tap our knees and stamp our feet, and then we stretch up high. And you'll notice that as we are clapping our hands and then tapping our knees and stamping our feet, as it goes down the body, it follows the pitch of the song. And then stretch up high, so we're really embodying pitch while, and it's involving movement, getting the children moving at the beginning of the session as well. And then we finish with, it's Soundpots time, and again following the pitch with our hands, or it could be music time at the end. So humour me, join in if you can. You can stand or sit, and you're ready. And we always start with an off we go. It gives the pace of the song, the tempo, and also gives them a starting note, so it gives them some chance of hopefully following the pitch. Ready, off we go. Hello everybody, how are you today? Thank you. Hello everybody, how are you today? Let's clap our hands and tap our knees and stamp our feet and stretch up high. Let's clap our hands and tap our knees and stamp our feet. It's Soundpots time. And after that, we very often go, let's sit down. Once again, echoing that same tune and following the pitch. And they can all take a seat in the circle, ready to get started for our music session. So I hope that's useful. And obviously the tune has been recorded, so if you want to use it, you can listen back and have a go at that yourselves. Thank you.
Lovely, great. Thank you, Di. We always enjoy a hello song at the beginning of a session. Penny, did you want to come in there?
Oh, only very quickly, because we're in good time. You did mention, Di, that you sing "Let's sit down," and very often I go "Let's sit," and they will all go down at pitch. Fantastic. So they are learning that la la la, those lovely initial intervals that are so useful for children to pick up those tunes like that. Thanks, Di.
Lovely, thank you, ladies. I'm now going to hand over to Angela, and Angela's going to do our next short section on Feel the Beat. Thank you, Angela.
Right, yes, feel the beat. Very often we talk about our voice being our own instrument, and that's why we do lots of singing with little children as well. But the beat, of course, is essential to music making. Without being able to keep that steady beat, we can't play together or work together. So keep getting the beat embedded and into little ones' musical skills is really, really important. And obviously, first of all, we've got the heartbeat that's there, that keeps going constantly. So lots of physicality in terms of the beat. I know Ruth came out to see me to observe one of my lessons, and the children in the nursery would struggle with some of the words to the songs that the children in FS2 were doing, but they were able to engage by keeping the beat in lots of physical ways. Lots of marching. I'm sure you've all got favourite tracks that you use that you could easily put some marching movements to, or some clapping. And of course, the good old standard, I've got it down here, my scrunchie. Lots of lovely keeping the beat. If you don't know, it's like a giant hairball. That one I can probably fit about 25 children round. You can get them in various sizes. They are easy to make because they are literally a large hair bubble, but they're amazing for keeping the beat, and all sorts of physical activities, and getting the children to make their own moves up and copying what they are doing for keeping the beat. Another little one that I quite like to use is my little Princess Blossom. She's rather sweet. The only thing is, to make her work, you have to put 2 fingers down the back of her trousers, which can get quite interesting. But there we go. She's there. That's Princess Blossom. And she walks on my hand. The children, they can use 2 fingers to keep the beat on their hand, or if they're really, really good, and now we're not worried so much about letting things be passed around, I would let the children, the ones who are doing really well, have a go. It was kind of their reward for, you're keeping a steady beat, would you like to have a turn with Princess Blossom? I don't know if she's still available, but she was bought from the National Youth Choir of Scotland, who've got a fabulous website with all sorts of resources, including the book that I'm sure Penny and I and everyone has referred to countless times over the years, and recommended the singing games and rhymes for early years. There's one for tiny tots. There's a whole range of them, but fabulous resources. So I quite often precede this with a vocabulary extending session before I introduce Princess Blossom, because it's raining in our song. So I ask the children to put their Wellingtons on. So we usually have lots of great play acting of how hard it is to get a Wellington on. And then we talk about what colour Wellingtons they've all got, and it's great because they tell you about this. I've got superheroes, I've got unicorns, well, I've got pink ones, and they get really excited about describing their imaginary Wellingtons. So Princess Blossom dances to the beat. And quite often you'll notice that partway through, the children will try and swap to the rhythm. So it's really good to just keep modelling that for them. So this little song goes like this. Rain is falling down, splash. Rain is falling down, splash. Pitter patter, pitter patter. Rain is falling down, splash. because I find they tend to want to go pitter patter pitter and try and do all sorts of other things, but it's really good for keeping that steady beat. Now, I was really impressed with you all earlier on. You joined in with Di absolutely beautifully. So I think I dare say, come on, ladies, I don't know if there's any gentlemen present, I can't see, but get your hands and get your fingers to do the walking on your hands. Okay. Rain is falling down, splash. Rain is falling down, splash. Pitter patter, pitter patter, rain is falling down, splash. Oh, well done. And Simon, I'm so glad I remembered. I just saw Simon's face pop up on the bottom. And he's got his own prop there as well. I said we'd normally put Wellingtons on before we did that, pretend Wellingtons. I would then do a physical activity of marching and round in a circle, marching to the beat again. Rain is falling down, and then the children jump on splash, and they do like that. And then when we get to the end, they go, oh, turn the other way, and so they all turn around the other way. So that really does go down well. So you've got quite a lot of activities that you can use over a number of weeks there over how you're going to extend it. And I know one of Penny's favourite things is taking something and using it in lots of ways and developing it and seeing where the children take you with all of those things too. Pinching from my dear colleague there, Di Davis. I've got a teddy. And I know Di has often shared with us the what shall we do with a bouncy teddy, and again that's absolutely fabulous for keeping a beat. Then it's a well-known tune. What shall we do with a bouncy teddy? What shall we do with a bouncy teddy? What shall we do with a bouncy teddy early in the morning? And then the children share what they would like to do with the bouncy teddy, so he can do somersaults. I had a time in school where all they wanted to tell you about was what they were eating, and then they wanted him to go to bed. It was, you know, they ate the breakfast and then bed as far as they were concerned. Again, now we can actually do things a little bit better than we had to be constrained during the pandemic. Clapping games. I started to use those again. The simplest one for little people is Ickle Ockle Blue Bottle, Fishes in the Sea. If you want a partner, just choose me. So pair them up and it's just a clap and a tap. So this one goes, Ickle Ockle Blue Bottle, fishes in the sea. If you want a partner, just choose me. So that works really nicely. And again, I would, they always have their busy moment once they know it. And you might find at first they're not anywhere near in time, but that's okay. It's a skill that they're learning and developing, and they'll have great fun while they're doing it. When I get to the end of that, I usually go, find a new partner. And so they all rush around and find somebody else to be with. And that we do quite a few times until, if we've got a small group, if it's a Soundpots group, that's actually quite easy to make sure everyone's had a go with everybody else. So there's lots and lots of physical activities that we can do to help embed the idea of a steady beat, because that's the steady beat is so important in music making. And in actual fact, it can be quite hard for older children to get a steady beat, but without blowing my own trumpet, that lesson that Ruth Kane observed, those children, for such young children, really had got a strong sense of pulse, and it was something that, because they'd done so much of, it was embedding beautifully, and they can only grow and build on that. Hopefully just some of the things I've shared then will remind you of things that you actually use already, and you think, actually I could do that clapping game, or I could do this, that you could actually build on embedding that sense of pulse, sense of beat in that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Angela. And I must admit, Ickle Ockle is definitely one of my favourites. But do take away things like, Angela was using a traditional tune or even a nursery rhyme tune. Pick a tune and change the words. I know I was talking to somebody earlier that was talking about, the children have been outside watering the garden. Make up a song while the children are watering the garden, just to a familiar nursery rhyme. You can do that all the time with everything that you do in your settings. I'm now going to hand over to Penny, and Penny's going to talk about some of her recent experiences with Soundpots. So thank you, Penny.
Thank you. Thanks, Ruth. Yeah, recent experiences. I'm just going to call them reflections, actually. I never stop learning, and I learn so much in this work with early years children. With the funded Soundpot sessions, we actually provide we do a weekly session report, and that's very useful for our own reflection, to gather comments from staff, and it feeds in to our reports to Youth Music, who are our funders. So we've become weekly session report writers. So I find that very useful, and to look through at the end at comments and quotes that I've had is really useful. It just builds up to a little conclusion for each setting, so that's useful. So so I think we're all reflective practitioners, every single person at our meeting, and I'm sure that we tweak and adapt all the time. I know I do, even with something that I think I'm going to do that because this is how it's going to go. Very often something else happens, or I've seen somebody else do it a different way, and it just puts a whole new aspect into it. So that's always fabulous. I'm going to talk about three things today. I'm going to talk about staff, I'm going to talk about children, and I'm going to talk about instruments and sound makers. Just a couple of reflections on each of those things, and things that have happened to me fairly recently. I've done quite a lot of Soundpots work in the last few terms, so I've just got so many different experiences to draw from, and it's quite difficult just to pick out a few for you. So under staff, I'm working at the moment it's a preschool playgroup, actually, in Stafford, so not a school setting. It is the very large hall that's very noisy, and the wonderful actually outside play area, and I'm working with staff there. I tend to do a big session with all the children. They're usually 16 to 18 children, 2 to 4s, so from quite young children to the older ones, and a big inclusive session. And then I tend to work as needed, really. I've been outside for the last couple of weeks, and I've managed to do some one-to-one sessions with a little boy with additional needs, and a young early years assistant has been with me. She tends to work a lot with this little boy one-to-one, and she witnessed a session that I had with him. I'd set up a drum, various things, some coconuts, some shakers, just 1 or 2 pieces around, most of which he wasn't interested in at all, or he would pick something up and chuck it around, but he was very, very physical. So I thought, okay, I'm going to work with that. So I mirrored his actions, and we did some really nice big movement work with this little boy who's non-verbal. So reflecting back what he was doing, and I followed this up the week after. That was last week, and I asked this early years assistant, I said, oh, what have you managed to implement any of our activities? What have you been doing in the week? And she said, I've given the boy a different name. I've called him Harrison. She said, I do copy Harrison's actions like you did when you did the one-to-one, you know, when he stamps his feet or taps the wall. And, you know, that just, I thought, was so fantastic that she had, she'd seen the way I worked. She appreciated the way that I was working. So sorry about that. She appreciated the way I was working, and she decided she was going to have a go at that. And so that just that little snippet of conversation, I thought that was absolutely fabulous. She joined in with our big session today with this little boy, and I saw her. She was tapping his foot to the beat, Angela, of the song that we were doing, and just making him feel really involved in the whole session. Whereas before, she was sitting in our circle, but she had her arms sort of in a vice-like grip of him in case he was going to escape, or, you know, or be loud or whatever. And that, of course, made him more tense and anxious. And things have just relaxed a little, which is fantastic. We actually went on to do some dancing. By that time, he was in his pushchair, but I managed to weave him in and out of the dancers. That was brilliant. So I just love it when you've got that little chink and that comment from somebody and you think, that's fabulous. That's really, really great to see that response from her. So that was that little snippet, and something from a staff comment last term, I think it was, just a little evaluation, and it said, I'm using instruments in different ways. Hooray, hooray. There are millions of ways to use one instrument. And she said, I am including anything and everything in a song. Hey, yes, which is brilliant, which echoes what Ruth said just now. I'm quite often asked, do you sing all the time, Penny? And I've put, yes, I think I do. I'm often asked that. So a couple of things from staff that really make us feel, oh yes, what we're doing, they can see it and they are really appreciating it, and they are using those ideas and making up their own ideas, which is brilliant. I'm going on to children, and I've put in my note, children surprise and delight me all the time, and they really, really do. They really do. I'm just going to share with you, if my voice lasts, a new song that we've been doing. Di will know this because she came and supported me last week. We've been singing it all week, both of us. And it's a song that we've done actually inside Angela's scrunchie. So we're inside of it, holding on to the sides, and we're chugging along like a train. And it's a train song, and it goes, we're all riding on a train. We're all riding on a train. We're going for the day far away. Then we'll all ride back again. And it's a bit like Wheels on the Bus, because the guard shuts the door on the train, and the staff will have a drum. I've given staff, you know, staff have got instruments, so they're coming along beside us so they can do the sound of the train. And then the guard blows the whistle on the train. Toot, toot. We're all tooting away and we're still going along, and then bouncing up and down on the train. We can go riding very fast in our train, and off we go. And today we had a leader, one of my little boys, and he went all over the place and we were following him, and then we chug back slowly back home. So much music in there. We're doing fast and slow, and we're doing toot toot in the gaps. Staff are having a wonderful time. Anyway, that's our train song, and it's in Lively. I think Lively Time Play Songs. I'm sure we can probably send it to you if you would like it. But my point was, we did this again this week on request because we did it last week. Oh, please can we do the train song? And I was packing away, ready to do outside play. Children were on a long table having their snack, and I heard, "We're going for the day far away." Who was that? Who was that? It was Callum. My ears just tuned in and picked up this little boy singing that absolutely perfectly, and that's not easy. It's not an easy tune the way it goes down. We're going for the day far away. So that was going through his head, and he'd really taken that little tune on board. So that was wonderful. What else am I going to choose from all my different things? I'm going to actually one more thing on the children. We do, and many of you will know this, I know Vicky will know this, calm outside, when we want to make a circle or getting back into a circle, we do make a circle, big and round, big and round, make it all together, standing proud, by which time we're in this beautiful circle and everybody has let hands go because we're standing proud and we are ready to do whatever we're doing in our circle. I've been doing this for in a school where I've been going in for the year, and I've worked with the whole of nursery, and I'm working now with children who I've seen before, but they're coming through again, and most of them are very, very, very quiet children, or they've got English as an additional language, but they know the Maker Circle very well. And I used that same tune with 4 puppets. I had a lion, a snail, I had Humpty Dumpty, and I had a tiger. We talked about the puppets. And then I put puppets in front of 4 children and I sang, "Who's got the lion?" Came back to me, "I've got the lion." "Who's got the snail?" "I've got the snail." "Who's got Humpty Dumpty?" I thought, oh, fingers crossed for this one. I judged who to give my puppets to. "I've got Humpty Dumpty." "Who's got the tiger?" "I've got the tiger." I had the nursery teacher in with me and we just looked at each other and really we were stunned by those skills. They were on pitch, but they'd known that. It's to do with repetition, as Angela had said. They had known that song. Dee, 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 dee. They knew that very, very, very well. But I hadn't put that little activity in. So, you know, you could choose different objects. That's a really, really nice one. You could make it, you know, make it single syllables, just as you need to for your children. Might be a nice one for phonics. But that was a really beautiful moment. And I did it again this week with different things. So that was fabulous. I'm going to finish. Am I on? Yes, I think I'm all right. Yes, I've got a couple of minutes. I'm just going to finish with a couple of thoughts about instruments. And again, I'm going to go back to the setting I'm in at the moment, who say, oh, we haven't got much at all. We haven't really got anything. So I have been taking in things for them. You know, there's yogurty drinks with a lovely screw lid. I had a load that I'd used for family learning, and I gave them about 10 last week. They're like lovely samba shakers. They're pretty robust. When you take everything off them, you've got a white container and you could decorate it, put masking tape, stripes, whatever. So they've had those from me. they are looking at, I think, having sticks as a resource. But their outside area, they have got so much. I'm going to show you what I found. Over by the tyres, which, by the way, make a fantastic drum kit, there's piles of tyres. Oh, give out sticks. Let's do some drums and a bit of a scrape along the fence as we go. So they've got a drum kit already that they didn't know they had. And in a bucket next to the drum kit was these of various shapes and sizes. And I picked it up and I went to see Mel, who's the manager. I said, "You have got a bucket of Gueros, fabulous shakers." She said, "It's my decking." I said, "Well, that is absolutely brilliant." So I had a little go. And she said, "Oh, it's different on the other side." And I hadn't even looked. Oh, well, it is different on the other side. It's different. So gracious me. So we've got instruments absolutely everywhere, and what we need really are lots and lots of beaters handy, and probably different sorts of beaters because they make different sounds, and just do a bit of improv in the outside space. So really, you know, you can find lots of super instruments and music sound makers, even if you haven't got the budget, you know, to buy a big drum like I've got. So keep your eyes out. I think that's about it.
Lovely, thank you so much, Penny. And I must admit, I do love reading those session reports as they come in and those comments. And, you know, just the difference that Soundpots is making in settings. I read a session report the other day, and, you know, the early years practitioner in that setting said that's the most I've ever heard that child say. And, you know, just to read reflections like that and, you know, the difference that the team are making is absolutely wonderful. So thanks for sharing some of those, Penny. We've got just a couple of minutes before we're going to go into breakout rooms. Has anybody got a question that they would like to ask to any of our Soundpots team? I forgot to say, I did put that link to National Youth Choir of Scotland, their resources. I did pop that in the chat if anybody is interested in those resources. They do have some lovely early years books as well with some lovely repertoire in. Anybody got any questions, feel free to unmute or pop your hand up or pop something in the chat. Or if you'd prefer to save it for the breakout rooms, that's fine. Simon, was that a hand up?
There's a mic. Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute. Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. That's been I'm just wondering about your thoughts on backing tracks, recorded music, or just you singing. Is there an advantage to one over the other, or both equally? Suggest.
With early years, I use very little recorded music and tend to do unaccompanied. I think they can tune in to your voice better unaccompanied. Occasionally, I will use some recorded music, perhaps for movement. Recently, I used the lovely aquarium from Samsung and from the Carnival of the Animals with scarves to do movement with. But I don't, with early years, I really don't use, well, much at all. If I'm going to use any sort of backing, I'll use my 3 chords on my ukulele because that's all I can manage. But I don't know what anybody else thinks, but that's certainly what I use.
Yeah, I'm same as Di. I don't use backing tracks unless schools want you to do something for Christmas or something that they want that for. But actually, it's really important that the children learn to pitch from your voice, because it's actually a developmental curve, the same as learning to write. You've got your pre-writing skills, haven't you? Your emergent writing and the scribbles that actually as the child trying to write. It's the same with singing. They need to learn to pitch off your voice before they can pick up notes off instruments. For those who are familiar with like the ABRSM oral tests, if you have a child who hasn't had those background experiences of doing lots of singing, even if they can play the piano, they can't pitch off the piano, pick up the tune to sing back in the oral test. They need to learn it from your voice first. So because a lot of the songs that we use we don't always use them, but you know, the So Me interval that we do lots of reinforcement within some of the songs, they're quite simple and we don't really need to have fancy backing tracks, is where I'm coming from, really.
Brilliant, thanks. I'm kind of aware as a bloke, but also as a bass singer, to make sure I pitch my voice up for the children, because my natural pitch is much lower, even down the octave, much lower than what the children will be singing at, and often I forget and find the children are singing very low in the register, and it's not comfortable for them. But I think I'm the only bloke on here, so I'm wondering if I'm the only one who has that problem.
Yeah, it's hard as a male, isn't it, Simon? But, you know, use those staff in your settings as well if you need to, you know, if you've got a female member of staff working with you, or get some of the children to model as well. You know, if you've got some gifted and talented children in your group, get them to model as well and get them to help out. Okay, so we're going to move into breakout rooms. If you've got any more questions, maybe ask them in the breakout room or pop them in the chat when we come back, and hopefully we can answer them at the end. We've got 2 questions for you this evening. The first question is, what are your challenges and barriers to music making in your setting? What makes it difficult to provide a quality early years music provision? So challenges and barriers to music making. And then the second question is, what do you shine at? Whether that's you personally or your setting, what do you shine at in terms of music making in your setting? You should have a group facilitator that has got those questions. So I'm hoping my breakout rooms work. So I'm going to send you out to breakout rooms. We've got nearly 15 minutes. So that should just be long enough just to have a conversation around those 2 things. Then we're going to come back. I'm going to stop the recording as well at this point. So I'm sending you out to breakout rooms now. Good luck.